Let's just start with a deep breath. One more, leaving everything that came before this very moment. I know you think the centering is for you all, but it's for me. I'm going to start with something I read this morning, which is a great affirmation. Every atom of my being is animated by divine perfection. Let me say that again. Every atom of my being is animated by divine perfection. If it's comfortable for you, close your eyes. If not, leave them open. But I want you to consider and think about these words. Every function, organ, and cell of mine and our body responds to the magnetic pull of wholeness, of unlimited energy, of perfect life. As my thoughts are in order, all fear, doubt, and uncertainty vanish into the nothingness from which it came. The divine circulates through me automatically, spontaneously, and perfectly. Every atom of my being is animated by the divine perfection that I am. Or like each and every person in this room, in the silence of this moment, think about that word, those words, that you are perfection. And every atom of your being is so. Remember to breathe. Breathe. Center yourself in that knowing. Go wherever those thoughts take you. As you come back to the room, notice how much calmer you are. And centered you are. Thank you. Namaste.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. So nice to see you all. Today is a very, very special day. Not just for you all, but for me. Because I am enamored with this gentleman. He's going to be singing most of this service, and I'm going to be helping out a little bit. Dave and I will help him out, but please welcome the incredible Daniel Naiman.
It's too kind. For no other reason, it's just entirely too much pressure. Hello? Hello. Do you sing something with me?
Yeah.
I wrote the song in Yellowstone National Park in about 2002. Buffalo nearby. If you've never been to Yellowstone, it's sort of being on Earth, but not quite. Let's just say it doesn't look anything like LA where I live or Las Vegas where you live. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in the deepest kind of love, to the deepest kind of love, the sweetest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning, here, and I'm seeing light so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. Diving in. I'm diving in. So get ready. Get ready, my soul. Diving in. I'm diving into the deepest kind of love, to the deepest kind of love, the sweetest kind of life, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deep, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. And here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving into the deepest kind of love, into the deepest kind of love, the sweetest kind of life, into the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
I'm so happy that somebody started applauding before me. This is where it wasn't me at first. Thank you, whoever did. Wow. Well, if that doesn't get you ready, because I'm ready. Face of God, please. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Yes. I hold you in my heart. Yes. You are my family. You are the face of God. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of God. As we move into the sacred space of love that is the divine, allow my voice to be your voice as I speak in the first person. I know there is a source in this universe that pervades everything, everywhere, at all times. It is in and through everyone in this center. I know this truth, the truth of the divine, the truth of one mind, the truth of one creative energy. And I know this creative energy is inside of me as love and law. It is the animating force. It is my heart. And knowing that it is my heart, I open it now. I open it now to everyone who participates in this service this morning, to the ministers of this wonderful center, to the practitioners, to the musicians, the technicians, all of the wonderful volunteers, and to our wonderful guest today, David. I know the Spirit of the Divine moves through you and make your way clear, perfect, and whole. It is this knowledge of oneness that pervades us each that I simply say thank you in deepest gratitude
for each of you being here today. I am grateful. I'm grateful to know this truth. And so I simply say, I release my word. My word is law. My word is done as I have spoken. And join me now by saying, and so it is.
Apparently they do a bunch of songs of some hack. I don't know, some guy. So they said, how about we do this tacky, cheesy one?
So beautiful. Should I try and put a drum?
So I thought I'd join them.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it would seem goofy, right?
Yeah.
The right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Yes, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh yeah. Alright. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just what I'm supposed to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting a message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. Yeah. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here. My soul is welcome here.
Sing that for a while, right? Great song.
Flowers, Daniel, Naaman, and Dave. I know that Dave has this one, for a special person, we just have one name. Dave. Yes. If it's comfortable for you, this day before Veterans Day, you could place your hand on your heart and say with me, God bless America and the rest of the world. And please turn to a neighbor and just say good morning.
How are you today?
a quick but beautiful honoring for the Veterans Days tomorrow. So.
All the veterans, please stand. Hello.
Yes.
Alden would like to say a few words. Yes.
Well, I always wear white on Veterans Day because it's for everybody, every human that ever died in the war. It's just that since my lifetime, I'm a Vietnam vet, 58,000 kids my age didn't make it back.
Oh my God.
That's only half as much as the number of Vietnamese that died. In the villages, kids, women. It's just the war itself. I just think that when we celebrate, we should celebrate everybody that ever thought they was following some leader and died. So it's like one leader can kill millions of people. And the millions of people that are dying, they don't even know what they're dying for. They have no idea. And you can't find too many soldiers that's going to say, I'm willing to die for my country. Because they're stuck. So thank you guys for honoring veterans everywhere.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Because we have a very, very special guest today, and you all know him, whether you know him or not, whether you think you do or not, you all know him, because you know his songs if you've been around here at any given time. So Daniel Nahmad, he is from Los Angeles, singer-songwriter and humanitarian, has performed his profound, heart-opening original music for over 1 million people in 45 states and Canada since beginning his career in 1999. Selling 90,000 CDs to date, and receiving literally thousands of standing ovations along the way. 15 of his songs have been recorded by over 50 artists in the past few years and are performed all over the world on a weekly basis. Recent media appearances of Daniel's music include NBC, Fox, CNN, PBS, E!, MTV, History, IFC, Bravo, and movie theaters across the United States. Daniel's poetic and evocative message of peace, love, and compassion across all nations, cultures, and faith has found overwhelming acceptance wherever he has performed. He has been featured on numerous cable and radio broadcasts in over 90 countries, at cultural festivals, interfaith and environmental fairs, workshops and conferences, youth rallies, 9/11 services, and as a keynote musical presenter at benefits for such organizations as Habitat for Humanity, Operation USA, Achievable, and Anti-Defamation League. Daniel has also performed for various U.S. governors and mayors and for congressmen in Washington, D.C. Daniel has presented his spectacular music and message for nearly all of the world's major faiths, including Christian, Catholic, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, Jewish, Baha'i, Mormon, and Unity audiences, and has worked with some of the most influential and brilliant speakers and leaders in the world, including Jim Houston, Marianne Williamson, Deepak Chopra, Victor Hansen, Aaron Gandhi, Yolanda King, Rhonda Britton, and Neil Donald Walsh. 15 of his songs have been recorded by over 50 artists in the past 6 years. One of those recording, I'll Remember For You, reached number 56 on the CCM national charts. And his song, You Could Be Fred, appeared on a top-selling CD from Blue Note artist Jackie Allen. In response to Hurricane Katrina, Daniel visited the Houston Astrodome for 2 days, walking amongst the survivors, talking, shaking hands, and singing songs. Following late 2004's humanitarian crisis in Asia, Daniel organized, produced, and hosted 2 soul-stirring benefit concerts, raising over $15,000 for Operation USA, a Los Angeles-based relief agency working in Indonesia and Sri Lanka. And in 2000, he was nominated a National Hospital Volunteer of the Year for his musical work at Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles. Daniel's CD Water featured beautiful, profound songs written under the powerful influence of a 3-month sabbatical in the Red Rocks of southern Utah. Since the release of Water, Daniel has introduced his water retreat, taking small groups back to the Majestic area for 3 days of hiking, singing, and discussion for the past 4 years. Daniel's CD Time for Fire, his 13th release, spotlighting his extraordinary gifts as an inspirational pop songwriter and vocalist, featuring such gems as Here Goes Nothing and What Kind of World. Time for Fire proved a fitting follow-up to his Water CD. This 14th CD, Sacred Love 2, represented yet another powerful chapter in Daniel's uniquely powerful body of work, a follow-up to his internationally popular Sacred Love CD, 15 new prayer songs, unforgettably provocative and haunting, including If I Only Make You Mine, Witness, and A World of Praise. And most recently, Home. I think there's another one, actually. I don't think this is the most recent live. Most recently, Home is another all-new collection of songs from this prolific artist, including such instant classics as What Home Means Now and the unforgettable Alaskan Snow. Home features 12 ruminations on the meaning of home from numerous personal, spiritual, and emotional perspectives. Early listeners are raving about the power, intimacy, and insight of this incredible new collection. So if you would, please put your hands together and welcome Daniel Naylod.
Lately I've been thinking about what motivates me to give a couple dollars to a stranger in the street, to hold the door, carry groceries, help a neighbor in need. When history repeats itself in headlines every day, solutions never big enough for problems that we face. As a man, as a dad, what difference can I make? Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a favor or a quarter or a smile. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I can do one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. Sure would help if our boy went and got an MBA and took care of his artist mom and dad in their old age. But let's face it, Wall Street probably isn't in his DNA. But when his first grade teacher said she wanted us to know, it's Jude who always comforts any kid who sits alone. There's just so much pride my heart can take. My retirement can wait. Cause I know better than to think I'll be remembered for a fortune or a pension or a prize. Oh, but maybe before I return to sender, I'll have done one thing worthwhile. So I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to raise a kind child. I don't want him to think the world is his to save. It's too much pressure anyway, it can't be done. I don't want him to think he has to be a saint, 'cause the truth is saints don't have any fun. Mostly I just hope my boy will come to understand. No 401k or GPA can make a happy man. It's having roots, doing good, helping out where you can. So have some roots, do some good, take somebody's hand. And you'll know better than most what really matters, what makes living this life worthwhile. And there may come a day your own kids will remember how their granddad used to say with a smile that he raised. We raised a kind child. There was a little boy. A little boy in my little boys class who had just arrived for kindergarten from Vietnam with his little baby brother and parents, and none of the four of them spoke a word of English. So the little boy, his name was Ethan, joined the class and struggled. For obvious reasons, didn't speak any English, so he didn't know what he was being told to do, so he didn't do what he was told to do. Threw some elbows, gotten some scrapes, acted out a bit, and the class was kind of guided. These little kids, were kind of guided to understand that Ethan needed some space, but it was a tricky first couple of months for him in school and for the class in some ways with him there, and then one day we got a phone call from my boy's teacher, and she said, I want you to know that Jude is the kindest boy in class. So of course I start crying, and my wife looks at me and says, "Oh God, you're gonna start crying." So, which summarizes our dynamic pretty much. And she said he's always kind. He looks for, if a kid can't find the right crayon, he goes to help them find the color they're looking for. He helps a kid find the bathroom. But she said, but today I read a book to the class. They were all sitting on the rug, and when I finished, your boy raised his hand, and he said, "I think Ethan did such a good job listening today, he should get an extra point." And I thought of my bubby, who I think I talked about a bit last time I was here a year ago. My dad's mom, who died at 98, was just about as wide as she was tall, which means about 4 feet in both directions. She was tough as nails and funny and always up for a chuckle, and worked hard her entire life. spent over 25 years waiting for a bus on Sheridan Avenue in Chicago to go downtown to work on the third floor of the Sears Tower, the world's tallest building at the time, because she was afraid of heights. So she never got, as far as I know, never got past the third floor. But she stayed at Sears Roebuck for her entire working life, and was the first one to get there in the morning, the last one to leave in the afternoon. And Sears did right by her whole professional life, and I don't know if she even had a high school diploma. I keep meaning to ask my dad. But smart and gutsy, little tiny Bubby, right? By the way, who had two sons, one of whom was in the Navy and died in the Navy in peacetime at about 23 or 24 years old, my Uncle Jack, who I never met. So it's worth mentioning that on Veterans Day, that he was serving our country and his when he died. My older brother Jack is named after him. Anyway, so my Bubby arrived, he was the youngest of 13 kids, and arrived in the United States at the turn of the 20th century with their parents from a little town in Poland. They did not have a penny to their name, and also did not speak a word of English. And when I heard this story about what my boy had done, when he got home from school, I told him about his great-grandmother. And what I told him was that when my Bubby died at 98, on her deathbed, and I visited her on her deathbed, so I know for a fact that she was still proud of the fact that she had started kindergarten not speaking a word of English, and in second grade won the spelling bee. And that was 90 years later. She still cherished that achievement. And I told my boy, Ethan probably didn't know what you said, and he didn't understand a word of it. But it might very well have been the first time his name was spoken with a smile and with kindness. It might have been the first time the teacher smiled at him unequivocally. It might have been the first time the whole class looked at him and smiled. It might have been the first time he felt accepted and praised in that room of people who are from a culture and a world and a language he has no comprehension of. And you will probably never know the difference you just made, but I promise you, you made a difference just by saying one simple sentence that cost you nothing to say. It was just a simple thought, and I'm proud of you for saying it out loud. Just like it's very likely that my Bubby in kindergarten or first grade came across somebody who said a kind word to her. And it brings up the question for me for the day, sort of a theme I'm just going to share with you today. And that is, have you or have I done enough? That is to say, have we been in the wrong place at the wrong time? Have we fallen short of expectations or possibilities? Have we not done what we came to do, or have we done exactly what we came to do? And I don't want to go to a rote answer, or a simple like, oh no, it's all good, it's all perfect. Everybody hurts sometimes, and everybody has regrets, as far as I can tell, at least if you're paying attention. But the question is whether the regrets are, at least the bigger regrets, are truly founded, or whether we need not rewrite the story or try to unwrite the story of our lives that led us to arrive where we are today. The work we've done, the good we've done, the things we have said or have not said, the money we've made or haven't made, the business we built or didn't build, the relationship that lasted or didn't last. Do we need to look back over our shoulder and say, wish I didn't? Why didn't I? If only I had. And I think of that one sentence from Jude, and I'm sure you can think of many examples of little moments that may very well ripple and reverberate, that go uncounted and usually unremembered and usually unacknowledged. And there are many for each of us. One of the most powerful moments for me was a moment, actually, I was in Las Vegas. I wasn't here. It was a very tiny little group a long time ago, and I was visiting to sing for the first time on Sunday morning. So I was standing in the back, and instead of putting people on the spot like you guys did this morning, what they went a step further and offered everybody who was there for the first time a rose, which was, I mean, there might have been 25 people in the room, so they had a handful of roses, and I was, for whatever reason, in a smart alecky mood, and I raised my hand. First timer, so they came back and gave me a yellow rose, which as soon as they handed it to me, I regretted. because it cost money for the church to buy, and I didn't need it. I was going to get on a plane. I wasn't going to take the rose with me. I wasn't going to take it on stage and put it on the piano like a lounge singer. I didn't have I had no use for this rose, and I wish I hadn't taken it. Okay, so I'm standing there with the rose, feeling a little bad, taking this rose, and in walks a couple of late arrivals, a mom and her little girl, dressed in a really pretty little dress, maybe 8, 9-year-old girl. And so, just on a whim, I walk over to this mother and daughter, and I lean over and I say, "Would you like a rose?" to the little girl. You know, she nods. And her mom looks stunned, and I don't know why. And I hand the little girl a rose, and I go about my business. And at the end of the service, the mother and daughter came back up to me, you know, the little daughter in her hand, and she said, "I want you to know that I've belonged to this church for several years, but I haven't been here in a year. Because a year ago, my son was diagnosed with cancer and died in the last year. And I have not been able to walk back in this room and face people again until today. Today is the first day I walked back into this group, in this community. And the first thing that happened was a stranger with a smile walks up and hands my daughter a little rose and says, 'Welcome.' She said, I cannot tell you how much that meant to me for us to receive that gift, for my daughter to receive that gift. We were so uneasy to come back in, and you just made us feel so welcome." And I thought, well, I'm not being sarcastic. That cost me nothing. That was just an impulse. And it made a real difference. So, fast forward for me into this distressingly, increasingly chubby and hair-thinning 49-year-old body. You know, here I am singing songs for 21, 22 years. And I can't help but wonder, and it does creep into my head, what the hell did I just do the last 20 years? I mean, I've written some songs I'm proud of, given some performances I'm proud of, but to put this in, you know, to explain what I mean by this question, what did I just do? I mean, I moved to LA from Chicago, right? I moved to LA to make a living making music and to break in the music business. I moved to West Hollywood, which is really the center of the music business. Anybody you're hearing on the radio now, at least in pop rock world, was probably within 3 blocks of my apartment. And I pulled off a miracle during those 20 years, or especially during the 7 or 8 that I lived there. The miracle was I met none of them. I actually spectacularly avoided making any inroads or relationships in the music business whatsoever. It must have been like I must have had to play dodge with them, like across the street when I saw a producer coming, you know, or you know, put on blinders and walk past the music publishing companies and record labels that were, you know, dotting the landscape. Instead of doing that, I was out singing at interfaith events and at unity churches and visiting 25 people in a little religious science church in Las Vegas. Instead of knocking on those doors and getting all the no's that I would have had to get to the yes. You know what I'm saying? And to some extent, it was a path of least resistance. To some extent, it was me making a living. To some extent, it was me doing some what felt like doing some real good. But it was also not what I was there for, at least not according to my outspoken, you know, my written mission statement, such as it was. I was there to have a song on the radio, to win a Grammy, to make $1 million. Now that I have a boy, it would be nice to have a college fund, you know, these sorts of things. And so at 49, part of the thought process that I'm sharing with you today is the question of whether I have landed where I was supposed to land, or whether I took detour after detour and made sure I avoided my actual best. Anybody relate to this question? Has your career gone where it was supposed to go, where it was expected to go, where you always thought it would go, or where you were always told it would go? You know, as I get older, I love Mr. Rogers. This is going to sound like a digression, but it's not. I love Mr. Rogers, but I've read a few dissenting opinions about Mr. Rogers. In fact, Mr. Rogers lived down the street from me. I grew up in Pittsburgh for 7 years until I moved to Chicago. And he was down the street in Squirrel Hill, where the synagogue shooting happened as well. That's where Mr. Rogers lived. Never met him. I don't know why my parents never walked us down the street to knock on his door, but we never did. But Mr. Rogers was so loving to every child he could reach with his eyes through the screen, right? That's what he did. He loved every kid, and he told them how special and wonderful and perfect they were. And I've read dissenting opinions that it did harm. Because he pumped kids up too much to think they were all special, and those kids grew up to be parents who then taught their kids that they were all special and unique and wonderful, and that they could do no wrong, and that anything in the world could be theirs. And I think that's a really cynical and cranky thing to say, but I do get the point, because it does make us some very harsh judges of our own lives. Am I wrong? I mean, you look at what you've achieved, and you're like, no Nobel Prize. It must have gone wrong somewhere, you know. Right? No $1 million, or no six-pack abs, or no whatever it is, no lifelong marriage. And you think, boy, it must be. I thought I was. If I'm so perfect and spectacular, I must have screwed this up, you know. So I get the notion. These two guys are here for the first time, and they mentioned it. You asked me about songs, and so, as I said, instead of, by the way, very brave to sit in the front row on your first time in the building. Impressive. So I was out singing songs like this. There's one power, invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable, and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth. As simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord. Call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angel's wings, or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power is what we are. So I used to sing at this organization, this church organization, used to have an annual conference at Asilomar State Park that I used to sing at every year for 6 or 7 years. And there was this little girl named Emily, she was 8 or 9, and she used to corner me every time I perform and say, "Can I help you at your CD table?" And I said, "Sure." And then while she was there, she would pepper me with 1,000 questions about how I wrote the song, how I performed it, where I found a studio, how I make an album, how to do what I was doing. She said, "I want to do it. I want to do that too." And I said, "Great." And I just answered whatever questions she had. And then I stopped doing that conference, and I lost track of Emily. And then years later, I was releasing the album. That bio was a bunch of years old, by the way. It's super nice of you to read that. And I did text a bio, but it was about 90 seconds before the service started. So there you go. Welcome to my world. Anyway, because I was referring album 13 and 14, and it's actually album 23 is coming out next week, actually, to give you some sense. But it was so nice of you to do that. I mean, you didn't have to do that. It's very nice to tell them too much information about me. So I lost track of Emily. Then I released the album called Water, and that was 2006. And I had pre-sold a lot of copies. And so I had a busy day with an assistant. When the album came out, we shipped, like 1,700 copies of this album. It was very expensive at the post office, but it was very fun. And also a little nerve-wracking, brand new songs. Who knows whether they're any good? I know I liked it, So I send it out. So I send out the album, and at the end of the album is this song. If this is my last song, if this is my final day, I want to say if this is my last song? If it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, what will I have to show? Oh, but fortune and fame, they scatter to the wind. The things that make a name just don't matter in the end. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. If these are my last words for all of the earth to hear, if all that I have ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, there's nothing that I need to say. I have only tried to serve. It's never been about talking anyway. So much hurt there is to heal, it's hard to understand. All I can hope to feel is that I am doing what I can. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit taller 'cause of something that I said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then I'm glad I came. For that, I'm so glad I came. If this is my last song, what do I leave behind? What do I pass on if I am out of time? So I sent out these pre-orders, and about a week later I got an email and said, "Hi Daniel, this is Emily. I don't know if you remember me, but for a bunch of years I helped you at your CD table, and you answered 1,000 questions about how to make music for a living. And I wanted you to know that I'm in college now, and I'm in music school, and I am on track to become a professional singer, and I just listened to your new album, Water, which I hadn't realized she had pre-ordered. And I just listened to it, and I wanted you to know that if you're wondering if a child stands a little bit taller because of something that you said, the answer is yes. Love, Emily." Well, it's one of those things where it's like watching It's a Wonderful Life. I always get teary at the end, and I think one of the most amazing things about the movie is it's like the fantasy of It's a Wonderful Life is you get to vicariously feel what it would be like to have all the things you've done, all the people you've touched, come back around and give you a big hug before you go. And almost none of us almost ever get the kind of feedback. I mean, Emily wrote that email to me in 2006, and I still cherish it. It's still emotional to think about that sentence, if you're wondering. The answer is yes. So, do we need that kind of feedback to know that we have done what we came to do, and touched who we came to touch, loved who we came to love, earned what we came to earn? Maybe, maybe not. I think there's a middle ground where we can wonder, and we're going to second guess ourselves. It's the gift and the curse of the brain. But maybe to dabble is enough to sleep a little better and breathe a little easier. To dabble in the possibility that where we've ended up, the choices we've made, have made the difference that we were brought here or arrived here to make. That the good we've done was enough. That the hearts we've touched were enough. The numbers are there. The achievements are enough. And just to circle back to end this little discussion, is during the offering. I have one more song to do for you after during the offering, and it is. I've had a puzzle. One of the most frustrating things for me over the years is the never-ending question that I get on airplanes, which is somebody will see me sitting there working on a song, and because I'm writing songs all the time, and I'm sitting there, and somebody says, "Oh, you're a musician?" "Yeah, I'm actually a professional songwriter." Oh, what kind of songs do you write?" I don't know. You know, I say, I don't know. I guess it's pop music. I guess it's sort of positive, but it's not gospel. I'm not Christian. I don't know. Never mind. That's where it usually ends up. Or they say, "Have I heard it? Have I heard something?" No. 22 years. It's amazing. I know. I've avoided you completely. 22 years. Unless you're on TV, you've heard me, but for 20 seconds at a time, you wouldn't have noticed. You know. So I've wondered all these years, was I, you know, and not fishing for any, you know, compliment or anything whatsoever, no reassurance. You know, I'm asking myself, you know, have I done the work I came to do? Have I written the song I came to write? Have I been taking a stand that matters? Why did I go to LA to swim with the big fish if I was going to be returning to Schenectady to sing for 60 people at an interfaith gathering and singing a song like One Power, or Last Song, for which there has never been a radio station, a shelf on any historic record store. No, there's never been a Grammy category. There is no niche. It doesn't exist. So I've been doing it, and I've never stopped wondering why, and even what it is necessarily. But recently, the new album is called "Sing About Love," and the song "Kind Child" is on it, and so is the song I'm going to close today with, like I said, after the offering. I wanted to get the kids. Are the kids going to come? Because I think they'll get a kick out of the song too. It's completely and totally out of my comfort zone. You both have heard it, because you heard it when I was still, I think it's done now because the album's coming out next week. But when you heard it, I was still writing verses for it. It's way different than anything I've ever done before. But it finally puts an answer to this question for myself. And since this is all about me fundamentally, that's really the most important thing. Is to answer the question for myself, is what is it I've been doing, and I found the way to answer it is to put myself and put the music I make into some context, some historical context, and you'll understand when I do the song. So hopefully that's just raised a couple questions for you, or gave you a couple things to think about, and we're going to do the offering now and then close with the song.
In the name of love, in the name of love. Come on up, guys. In the name of love, 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 yes. In the name of love.
Today we learned about self-mastery. It is about how whenever someone does something, the way that you react is the part that makes everybody think, maybe I could take that back. Sorry about that. So self-mastery, it's basically where instead of saying something that you will regret, you think about it, and then you do something that will be better for you and that other person.
A question you'd ask yourself is like, what would spirit do? What would God do? What would love do? And then you like kind of self-regulate and you make that decision of what would be best for you and that other person.
We did some of the basic Thanksgiving things about what we're thankful for.
My family and my friends. I was thankful for family, friends, and God.
You know, Daniel's coming back to the stage, and you know, I did get his bio. But there were some interesting things on here.
You should read a lot more of it.
Yeah, no. It's not that much I'm going to read. Yeah, you guys stay up there because he wants you to hear this song. Here are among the most popular songs. We all know them. Well, Deepak Chopra called Daniel's song One Power, which we all love, and Patty sings awesomely. An anthem for the new humanity. Hall of Fame songwriter Paul Williams simply labeled Daniel brilliant. I know. He recently provided the keynote music for the Parliament of World Religions in Toronto last year. Yes, with his friend and collaborator Nemo. You know, we know he lives in Orange County. Stacey has a couple of pieces of his wife's beautiful jewelry. And yeah, I think we drove down to see him in December one day. He had a concert in his studio. We had so much fun. It was good. When we Lake Arrowhead, when we go to the retreat with Redondo Beach. So awesome. And you know, today is Barbara Grant's birthday too.
I can't tell you this sounds silly to say. I can't tell you, I was telling you before, how many people greeted me so nicely when I get here. See, since my boy is now almost 8, and it breaks my family's heart, all 3 of us, when I leave town. And I leave town all the time. I'm always, he knows when I'm coming back and why I'm going. I say, I love my job, and I love you more, and I'll see you in 2 days or 3 days or 1 day or whatever it is. But it means a lot to arrive and be greeted the way I was greeted today. So those of you, you know who you are, who just went out of your way to say, I'm so glad you're here, to help me with all kinds of things, set up a second table, you guys slaving over the keyboard and the mics. And so it's really it makes the job, we call it a job. The travel job is the hard part, the music is the fun. This isn't hard, this isn't a job, this is just fun. Anyway, so thank you for all of you who did that. And I sang only half of One Power, that was not a crass marketing move, but you can hear the entire song if you stick around for my concert. Concert's at 1, there's food, right, potluck between now and then. So please come back, hour and a half max for the concert. No intermission, just do 1 to 2:30. And I've got a lot of songs to sing, old and new. And if you've never heard me sing before, they're all new, so that's nice. And then I have my wife's jewelry out there at that table, not at that one. And then I'm pre-selling the album for 1 more week. So if you wanted to get the album, this is the title song I'm about to do from the new album. It's pretty cool, I think, and it'll be out next week, and I'll send it to you or email it to you.
What is the title of the album?
It's called Sing About Love. And then I have last two things I'll say. I have a USB drive. If you don't know what a USB drive is, you don't want it. But I have a flash drive with all of my inspirational music on it. It's up to almost 170 songs now. 13 complete albums and all kinds of extras. Unreleased songs and lyrics for everything and all kinds of stuff. It's on a cool little object. If you want a lot of music, it's a nice thing. And then I'm doing a retreat on New Year's Day in Orange County if you feel like making a drive. It's called Get Ready My Soul, and I did it last year on January 1st, and it was pretty powerful. Not for me, for me it was, but I think for the room. There's a small group, we spend the day starting our year intentionally and calmly and asking ourselves some honest and compassionate questions about who we are, how we've ended up where we are, and where we would actually like to go in the new year and how we would actually get there. So it is a day of music and discussion and readings and quiet time, and I feed you lunch, and it's a nice day if you feel like coming. It's a small group, so I have a little postcard. You can sign up today, or a little postcard you can take. I think that's it. Okay. Sip of water, and then a crazy song.
Sounds good.
To close. Sorry we're so late. And here we go. The title song off album number 23. Makes me tired just thinking about it. Here we go. And crank it up, man. I could sing about mistakes I've made, broken hearts and broken wings. I could sing about my aches and pains and the one that got away. But it seems to me the world has its hurts to spare. Shadows are everywhere. I've decided I've cried enough. There's plenty of songs about tough luck. I'm gonna sing about love. Gonna sing about love. Lift somebody up instead of talking about tough luck. I can't deny I still dream about the glory, the Grammy, the gold. I cannot lie, I still wish sometimes my eyes and my heart would close. But it seems to me my family escaped the war, and they never sang anymore. They lost everything they had. And if a song is all I can give back, I'm gonna sing about love. Whoa. Gonna sing about love. Whoa. Lift somebody up. Lift somebody up. Gonna sing about love. Instead of talking about tough love. Oh, no more tough love. Bobby McFerrin said, be happy, it'll be alright. Marvin Gaye showed the way to what's going on. It's a wonderful world, thanks to Louis Armstrong. Soul Asylum saved those runaway kids. John Lennon just imagined in the whole world did. John Denver took a sky with Tina Turner to the sea. Stevie Wonder to a higher love. John Legend and Comic to freedom. Pete Seeger's gonna overcome. Bob Marley just smiled at the rising sun. And a man will lose himself before the moment's gone. Miss Jackson knows the knowledge is what we want. Gloria Gaynor maintained that we're gonna survive. Tim McGraw wants us to live like we are dying. Aretha got Aretha, S-A-E-C-T. Bette Midler from a distance, the whole world we see. Tom Petty, Free Falls, Leanne Hopes, we can't. Josh Grover raises up. If we're hurting, R.E.M. understands. Hurricane, listen to USA. Van Morrison ushered in a brand new day. Whitney sang about the greatest love of all. Johnny Nash can see clearly now the rain won't fall. Nick knows we're beautiful, Christina does too. Rihanna sees us shining like a diamond. We keep walking like the Foo Fighters, like the power couple can be said. Miley is a climber, Andy Grammer keeps his head up. Bill Withers, we can lean on him. Natasha's unwritten, takes a trip, shakes it off again. Lady Gaga was born this way. Jason Mraz truly not to be our friend today. The Black Eyed Peas wonder where the love is. Right, God, the clean journey never stop believing in us. Signing up for trouble, water made a bridge. Elton John lit a tiger for Diana, he did. It's the same love, Macklemore was moved to pray. Izzy made a rainbow with an ukulele. James Brown, loud and proud, from his heart, laid it out the way it is. Queen, this is a champion. You two, Dr. King, the power of one. Sam Cooke, and your love change is gonna come. Peter Gabriel, ain't even know about us, just every other world, same vibe. No star they couldn't get. Are you here? What a feeling alive. Pharrell made us happy, take
potluck, our Thanksgiving potluck Sunday. Ladies have been in there, volunteers helping getting everything set up. Daniel Neymon also has 2 tables with great information on them. Also, check out the Happenings table. Julius has a sign-up sheet for taking family photos on the last Sunday of this month, and we all know what a fabulous photographer he is. And it's like $10, something like that. It's ridiculously low, and but a fabulous photo. If I could ask our ministers, all of them, to please come forward, and also our Ministry of Prayer team, our practitioners. I see some of them don't have their shawls on, but you'll know them when you see them because they'll be standing up here. They're here to pray for you, with you, or just to have a nice conversation after. It'll be wonderful.
Okay, so if you all would just stand and connect. What a good and great and fabulous day thus far. And I know we're in for more good. If Daniel didn't know what his calling is, I must say, I think he's on the right track, so to speak. And so for each of us, I am just knowing that each of us is on the right track as well. We all are here to be loved. And I know that in this center, each person that I lay eyes on shows up as love. And it just fills my heart with joy each and every Sunday, or each and every time that you walk through these doors. And so keep doing and being the love. That's what we're each called to do. It's easy right here and right now in this beautiful sanctuary, and maybe not as easy other times and other places with other people. And so I bless each and every person here. I bless the food and all the cooks and all the items that were lovingly prepared for our Thanksgiving potluck. And I'm just calling it good and very good. And I know the concert is good and very good as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you for all of it. And together we say,
And so it is.
Sing our peace song.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as our power, loved ones all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in His eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me.
Hey, please stay for our potluck. Even if you didn't bring anything, we usually have, well, we always have plenty and enough. And if you did not pick up a child for CASA, we still have 14 children that need gifts. So please do that today. And if you would repeat after me, it would be a wonderful thing. Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
Something wonderful is happening to me right now.
I know this in my mind.
I know this in my mind.
I feel it in my body.
I feel it in my body.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Soul in my pocket, jumping, soul in my feet.